דרך לשוב אליך, גם אם קשה תהיה לשוב להיות בזרועותיך, הדרך בסופה אחיה. אז אשוב ואתן לך את חיי, כל פינה שבליבי את נפשי, שם אתה לי בקרבי. אז אשוב ואתן לך את חיי, כל פינה שבליבי את נפשי, שם אתה לי בקרבי. אתה שם איתי רבות הדרכים אותה ניסיתי, וכולן הלכתי טועה. רבים הקולות להם הקשבתי, אך כל אחד דימואל. אז אשוב אתן לך את חיי, כל פינה שבליבי את נפשי, שם אתה לי בקרבי. אז אשוב אתן לך את חיי, כל פינה שבליבי את נפשי, שם אתה לי בקרבי. אתה שם איתי, אתה שם איתי. אשוב אתן לך את חיי, כל פינה שבליבי את נפשי, שם אתה לי בקרבי. אז אשוב אתן לך את חיי, כל פינה שבליבי את נפשי, שם אתה לי בקרבי.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom,
Hi,
everybody.
everyone. Yeah,
Thanks for meeting with us tonight.
another day, and I'm actually here. But my wife's teaching anyway. Doesn't matter if I'm here or not. But, yeah.
Noble's been nonstop,
Oh,
super
gosh.
busy for the last 2 weeks.
So much work, and well, it'll slow down soon, I'm sure. But gotta praise Yah for all the blessings, right? So good to have you join us. Barb, you up there, Barb? So
Yeah, Barbara, Adrian,
Adrian, yo.
Marvalee,
All right, Margaret,
Lance.
Lance. Oh, nice. We were missing Johnson. You know, what's his name? Aldian.
Yeah.
Last Saturday, and finally got a hold of me. He said he's been working hard, and his sleep schedule is off, so that's why he hasn't been around lately. But it's good to know that he's all right. But with that, again, we just want to welcome you to another Stop the Pain. We got a great show. Lisa's got this personal teaching. I mean, she knows this from experience. So, what she's teaching is, again, genuine stuff, good stuff. Hopefully, if you're seeing the symptoms that she had, maybe you can realize what you're going through and take the necessary steps to curb it and stop it.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't we open up in prayer first, all right?
All right.
Abba, Father, we again are thankful that you provide all things for us. And we thank you for being here today, Lord, to share with us, guide us, lead us, and to, again, Lord, edify us as we meet under your banner in your name. And I ask that you would watch over Barbara's grandson who broke his collarbone, Lord, and that you would heal him, Lord, and that you would expedite the process, and that it would be as painless as possible, and that you'd knit his bones back together again. So, Lord, thank you so much for, again, Grandma taking care and the family. We ask, Lord, that you, again, be glorified in all of this process. And for anybody else that's aching and suffering, myself included, we, again, Lord, just we lift it all up to you, knowing that you are the conductor of our bodies, and that you know how to orchestrate its healing. We thank you so much for, again, participating with us one-on-one, individually, and knowing each of us by name. We give you thanks, praise, glory, and honor in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach, to the glory of Abba Father, by the power of the Ruach HaKodesh. And we all say,
Amen.
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 All right, what do you got
Thank
for
you,
us?
Han. I got a pretty good presentation on Candida and health.
Oh yeah, does it have anything to do with yeast?
Yes.
Are you making bread?
Not right now.
I love homemade bread. You know the aroma of homemade bread in a house? Killer.
It's something you cannot have if you have Candida and leaky gut.
Oh, no homemade bread. Oh, bummers.
No yeast. You can have
No
bread. You
yeast.
can have homemade bread, but not made with yeast.
No yeast. Okay.
Baking soda.
Well,
There's other things you can use.
no, really?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I am going to let Lisa take the floor, and I'm going to go and man the computer. So, blessings,
Yeah,
everybody.
you guys can have fun chatting with Noble. I'll be on there today. All right. So yes, like what Noble said, this is a personal topic for me. Kind of like last week. I thought, hey, I might as well talk about topics that I have dealt with, or different medicine that I've made before. Let's start out with the disclaimer. Isaac, if you put that up. I'm not a medical professional. I am only giving this information that I've researched and through personal experience. So don't take this as I'm a medical doctor, thank God. And we're going to go ahead and move into the study. So as you can see here on this first slide, I'm going to be taking the information that I'm sharing tonight from a book called The Yeast Connection. And this is by Dr. William Crook, MD. And yes, it's a very ironic last name for a doctor, but he does have awesome research that he's done. And when I was going through this book, he was still alive. I think he passed away in 2002. But he has some great information. It really helped me to kind of start getting a handle on my health and understand what was wrong with me and why there was so much pain. So you can see up here in the upper right corner where it says leaky gut syndrome. These are all, if you have all of these combined, or the majority of these combined, there's a good chance that you have leaky gut syndrome. And this is related to yeast in the body, and that's why it's called the yeast connection, because the entire body is affected if you have yeast overgrowth in it. And this is the really bad yeast overgrowth. So we'll go into this in a bit, but let's go over the symptoms of leaky gut syndrome. Brain fog, clouded thinking, weakened immunity, wind and gas, chronic fatigue, joint pain, nutritional deficiencies, reoccurring candida, that's what we're going to talk about today, or yeast infections, fungal infections, bloating, IBS, indigestion, allergies, and intolerances. And when you think about a yeast infection, you normally think of, oh, it's just for women, only women get that because of certain things that the doctors told you. No, anybody can have a yeast infection, and it affects the entire body, the mouth, any openings, and then plus your bloodstream. It affects the quality of your blood, your whole digestive system, your respiratory system, even with your lungs. It's your body that's reacting to an overgrowth of mold that is in the system. All right, so we're going to start out with a questionnaire. So get out a pencil and paper, or go on your phone so you can keep track of what your answer is going to be. Okay, so there's 10 questions here, and I want you to look at the end of each question, and there's a number right after the question mark. So if you answer yes to any of these questions, keep track of what your score is, of what number you end up with after all 10 questions, because there's like a connection that I'm going to make here with this questionnaire, okay? So let's go through it. This is the Candida questionnaire. Write down the answers and then add up your points at the end, okay? You only get points for yes. No is 0, right? Have you taken repeated or prolonged courses of antibacterial drugs or prescriptions? Okay, if you have yes for that one, give yourself a 4. Have you been bothered by recurrent vaginal, prostate, or urinary infections? If that's a yes, give yourself a 3. Do you feel sick all over, yet the cause hasn't been found? If that's a yes, give yourself a 2. Are you bothered by hormone disturbances, including PMS, menstrual irregularities, sexual dysfunction, sugar cravings, low body temperature, or fatigue? Give yourself a 2, if that's yes. Number 5, are you unusually sensitive to tobacco smoke, perfumes, colognes, and other chemical odors? If that's a yes, give yourself a 2. Are you bothered by memory or concentration problems? Do you sometimes feel spaced out? If that's a yes, give yourself a 2. Have you taken prolonged courses of prednisone or other steroids, or have you taken the pill, this is like the birth control pill, for more than 3 years? If that's a yes, give yourself a 2. Do some foods disagree with you or trigger your symptoms? If that's yes, give yourself 1. Do you suffer with constipation, diarrhea, bloating, or abdominal pain? If that's a yes, give yourself 1. And does your skin itch, tingle, or burn, or is it unusually dry, or are you bothered by rashes? Okay, if that's a yes, give yourself 1. All right, now add up all your points. I'm going to see how many points you have. You don't have to share it. If you want to share it in the chat, that's fine too. And we're going to see what this means. Okay? All right. For women, a score of 10 or greater indicates your health problems may be connected to a candida overgrowth. A score of 13 or higher suggests that your symptoms are very likely to be related to candida. And that's women. Okay, men, a score of 8 or more indicates your health problems may be connected to a candida overgrowth. And a score of 11 or higher suggests your symptoms are very likely to be related to candida. Okay, so you can kind of have a good idea. I did not make up this quiz. This is made up by Dr. Crook. And when nutritionalists want to diagnose someone with candida, it's a pretty good test to take. I think my score was ridiculous the first time I took this. It was like, I think it was over 20. It was like all of them, yeah. So, all right. The right combination of supplements can support and maintain a healthy balance of natural occurring microorganisms throughout your system. It can also help strengthen your immune system and maintain general good health. To address yeast-related health conditions, make sure your supplements are yeast-free, sugar-free, and color-free. That should be kind of a normal thing, but a lot of people don't look at the ingredients of their supplements and they end up taking all kinds of stuff in their body. So make sure there's no yeast, no sugar, and no coloring or food coloring in there. Probiotics, okay. Probiotics contain friendly bacteria that help you keep a natural, healthy balance of microorganisms in your digestive tract. There are many different forms and brands of probiotics, available in foods, pills, and capsules. But to be effective, they must be able to bypass the harsh stomach acid and deliver at least 1 billion live organisms to the intestines. Okay, and you can buy probiotics in pill form. We tried getting those. They're really expensive, and so we found a much less expensive way to get our probiotics, and that's through buying kefir. You should take that first thing when you wake up. You could get whole milk kefir, goat's milk kefir. They have quite a few different brands and different flavors. If you go to a health food store, or some grocery stores carry it too. But we always keep some in the fridge because first thing when you wake up, that's the best thing so that you don't have issues. You don't have heartburn. You won't have digestive issues as much if you start out right when you first wake up. Okay, the next one is digestive enzymes. That's something I've presented on before. Help maintain a natural, healthy digestion. Among their many benefits, these supplements help you comfortably digest problem foods like broccoli, cauliflower, beans, fruit, and milk. Okay. For me, it also helps if I do eat organic wheat because I can't usually tolerate wheat or corn. And if I do, I just take 3 of the enzymes the same time when I'm eating, and it really helps to move your system along. Herbs and nutrients inhibit the growth of Candida albicans. Okay, so in addition to prescription antifungal medications, that's something that can be, at one point, you don't want to ask the doctor for prescriptions, so if you could do it without the prescription medications. But the nutritionist I worked with recommended a prescription called nystatin. It's an antifungal, so because my body was so overgrown with Candida, just everything, she recommended I do nystatin for about 6 months, and so I was taking nystatin, and it really helped to make sure all of that yeast was out of there. Okay, vitamins and minerals. Taking a daily multivitamin and mineral supplement helps you supply your body with the nutrients it needs to help you regain optimum health. And again, make sure that when you do buy vitamins and supplements, you get the really high quality. Don't just go buy it from Costco or from Walmart or something, their brand. You want to make sure that you're not just flushing all your stuff down the toilet. So the brand we always recommend is the Vitamin Shop. You can buy those on Amazon. They have their actual stores nationwide in the U.S. anyway. And our naturopath before did a test on all different supplements and vitamins and found out that Vitamin Shop, hands down, has the highest quality vitamins for the lowest price. So if you want to do that, that's where we get our vitamins and supplements for the most part. Important, do not try to self-treat a chronic health condition. Find a caring, knowledgeable physician, and when I say physician, I'm moving toward naturopath or nutritionist. Regular physicians don't want to talk about your diet for the most part, so not a regular physician. To work with you or tailor a care plan for you and your situation. If you and your healthcare professional decide the supplements would be helpful for you, remember herbs and supplements work very gradually in the body. Try them for at least 3 months before you decide whether or not they're effective. I think that's across the board with all natural remedies or holistic doctors or chiropractors. They always want you to try it for at least 3 months so it gives your cells time to rejuvenate. Meanwhile, pay close attention to signals your body sends you. They may be very subtle but very important to notice. Any changes in energy, appetite, sleep, taste, smell, hearing, eyesight? Keep detailed notes so you will notice how your body responds. Discuss any supplements you plan to take with your physician or your naturopath before you start them. Some medications interact with certain herbs and supplements and alter their effectiveness. Okay?
That's too small for me.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. The rest of them are much better. Chemical and mold sensitivities often develop very gradually over a period of repeated exposure. Many times there are no obvious links to the chemical or mold contact, making the specific source of sensitivities difficult to uncover. What's more, as you develop one sensitivity, it may weaken your system enough to develop more sensitivities, further complicating the process of finding the source of your symptoms. There are 3 basic types of sensitivity. All right? The first one is toxicity or poison. That's like from lead or mercury. It's a very typical example there. If you have mercury amalgam fillings in your mouth, there's a good chance that you might be experiencing some poisoning. And allergies to particular plants or products, including pollen, that's something that I had since I was a child, a lot of allergies to certain plants. And it's very fortunate that these types of plants are usually not found in Hawaii, so as long as I live here, I'll be okay. Multiple chemical sensitivities where your natural detoxification system becomes less able or unable to cope with chemicals and molds to which you're exposed. This can include almost anything in your environment. And this is symptoms of the sensitivities, so these are some more symptoms. Headaches, foggy thinking, fatigue, dizziness, depression, muscle and joint aches, runny nose and eyes, sinus infections, respiratory symptoms, including severe asthma symptoms. I wanted to say too, going back to the toxicity or poison with the lead and mercury poisoning, also with aluminum, barium, strontium, if those three sound familiar, those were like the three admitted top ingredients in the chemicals that they've been spraying over us for the past couple decades. And they've kind of ramped it up. I've talked to a lot of people online around the world, and they just are like, yeah, our skies are just whited out most of the time. So keep in mind, we're also breathing those in. Remember, we are all exposed to some toxic chemicals, but you can minimize your exposures, and that's what's important. Most of us are unaware that we're developing chemical sensitivities until our bodies have exposed so often that we can no longer tolerate what once went unnoticed. Okay, so review your daily environment. Exposure to some of these things might be causing difficulties for you. All right, here's another list. Auto fumes, tobacco smoke, perfumes and scented cosmetic products, cleaning products, newsprint, pesticides, insecticides, fumes from dry cleaning solvents. That's it for those of you that get your clothes dry cleaned. Gotta watch out for that. Fumes from copiers, office equipment. If you work around this type of equipment for like 8 hours of the day, that's another reason that you need to detox. Electromagnetic radiation from computers, televisions, etc. If you spend a good time in front of a computer or on your phone or your tablet or the TV even, you need to detox from that. Gas versus electric stove or heating unit. So if you have a gas stove, there's more fumes that come from there. Synthetic clothes. If you wear clothing that's just made of only polyester or only rayon, you're basically just wearing plastic. Aerosol spray, all right, mercury amalgams, like I mentioned earlier, and other dental composites, fertilizers, air fresheners, glues, paint removers and varnishes, carpet. This is especially new carpet. When you get new carpet in your house, you might have like a whole host of more symptoms just because of all the chemicals that you're inhaling until it can kind of calm down.
Yes.
Upholstery, curtains treated with chemicals, fingernail polish. A lot of people don't realize that fingernail polish is absorbed through your fingernail into your fingers, and that's another toxin. If you just look at what fingernail polish is made of, it's something that you don't want to have constantly on your body. Molds in schools, office buildings, homes, and apartments. I don't know if you guys have heard of like the black mold epidemic that's been getting a lot of people sick who live in really damp areas. And the part of Hawaii where I grew up, in the center of the island, it's extremely damp. It's a great place to grow things because basically put a stick in the ground, it'll grow because it rains every night, just like a really light, soft rain, and it's really beautiful and nice, but that also brings a lot of mold into the houses. So you have to make sure you keep your walls clean, that use the damp red thing in the closets. I mean, it's a whole different way of living there than as opposed to where we live now. Buildings sealed without the ability to open windows. Okay, so it's important to get some fresh air, even though the air outside isn't as great of quality as it used to be. It's still important to get some fresh air. So breathe outdoor air every day. Air out your house and office daily. Outside air is often less contaminated than indoor air, even taking into consideration the dangers of air pollution. Remove as many chemicals from your house as possible. See the above list to help you understand what chemicals are harmful. Avoid toxic cleaning products. Use baking soda, unscented soap, vinegar, lemon juice, or food-grade hydrogen peroxide. Use unscented products. I don't know if you guys have seen it in different businesses. If someone has like a chemical, they can't handle a lot of chemicals, it'll be signs saying, please do not wear perfume, don't use aerosols, all that kinds of stuff, just so that people who work in there are not going to have allergy attacks. Dry clean Oh, this includes cosmetics, deodorants, soaps, and laundry detergent. Laundry detergent is a huge thing that people don't usually realize because they tend to use the same detergents as they grow up using, that they want their clothes smelling the same because it brings good memories. But the main laundry brands have so many hormones in it, like Tide, Gain, I mean just all the top brands, Downy, any fabric softeners. There's so much hormones in there, and that's like by design, because the commercials you'll see like a mother doing all of their children's laundry, you know. They want the children wearing all these products so that they can absorb the hormones that are in it, and then they're going to have questions about their gender. That's basically what it comes down to. Dry clean as few items as possible. When it is necessary to have clothing or other household items dry cleaned, remove them from the bags and air them out before you wear them. Because there's a reason why it's called dry cleaning. It's just spraying chemicals on it. That's to make it smell better and pressing it. Buy and eat organic foods and products as much as possible. That's kind of a given. Hope you guys know that by now. Take saunas. Sweating helps your body clear toxins, so it's good to sweat. Discuss antifungal drugs with your physician. Okay, so that's something that you can decide if you want to do or not if you are diagnosed with this disease, basically, or this invasion of your body by mold. Make sure you're eating healthy, nutritious foods and using supplements to help your body maintain its naturally occurring detoxification system and keep your immune system strong. Try eating garlic and onions as often as possible to help your body's organ systems maintain healthy functioning. That's an interesting suggestion, right? Garlic and onions, whoa. Identify any food sensitivities. So we're going to explore the Phase 3 reassessment for step-by-step guidelines for the rotation diet to help you identify food sensitivities. So this is something I went through. I'd never even thought that I had any allergies to food except for melons and just a few things. But once I did this reassessment part, it was like, oh, okay, I understood that when I ate certain foods, it caused the inflammation, it caused all the symptoms to affect my whole body. So it's not worth it to eat. It usually is your favorite food or one of the top 10 foods you enjoy, which is really junk, but it's better to feel good than to eat your favorite foods most of the time. And then you can get this book, the Yeast Connection Cookbook. They have it on eBay. These are books from like 20, 25 years ago, so it'll be a little bit older, but you can get pretty good used copies of these books on eBay for less than $10. Remember, changing your diet is only one of many tools available to help you take charge of your health and rebalance your body from yeast overgrowth. So don't give up. Yes, this eating plan is usually difficult. It really is, especially if you've been eating a lot of sugary foods like I was addicted to. But relief is possible. Following the diet plan helps you experience relief faster. The anti-yeast diet has 4 distinct stages, and for best results should be followed in order from elimination to maintenance, okay? So there's the 4 stages: elimination, challenge, reassessment, and maintenance. This is according to Dr. Crook's protocol for Candida. Each of these diet stages includes specific lists of foods choices that are permissible and not permissible to help you get the maximum results for your efforts. Each stage also allows for experimentations by adding foods to help you determine if they cause you problems or not. When you're starting out, this sort of experimentation can be confusing, awkward, and uncomfortable. To start, focus only on the first stage, elimination. And that's true, because it gets kind of confusing. And that's why it's always good to have lists. I love print out these lists. You can put them up on the fridge, just so you remember. You can put it up in the pantry. Because if you're doing this diet, it's really tough to maintain it unless everyone in your household does it with you. And that's the key. If you're trying to do it and everybody's eating all the food that you're craving, it's just not going to work. It's going to be so much more miserable. So if you could get everybody in your household on board with this, you're going to be a lot more successful, okay? Also, using the right supplements while you're addressing the diet component of your anti-candida program helps tremendously by confronting your body's imbalance from multiple points of view. So here's number 1, elimination. In the first phase, you'll eliminate foods that feed yeast organisms and encourage yeast overgrowth. Sugar, yeast, and mold-containing foods are the most important items to eliminate. In addition, keeping starches and fermented foods out of your food plan. I know Noble's going to look at me going, what about fermented foods? But just in this first phase, if you notice that you have an candida overgrowth, you've got to just stop the fermented foods just because you're not going to know what's triggering you. Okay, so sugar, yeast, and mold-containing foods. Okay, I read that, sorry. This first phase of your diet usually needs to last for 2 to 4 weeks, depending on how long it takes for your body to start feeling relief from some of your major symptoms. The simplest way to approach this phase is to focus on eating fresh meats, vegetables, nuts, seeds, unprocessed oils, water, and tea. That's actually a really good list. You could just stick to those things just like for the first few weeks. All right, so here's a shopping list. And these are the foods that you can eat. Look how delicious those look with all the greens and different colors all mixed in.
And not all nuts are good, especially if they're roasted nuts.
What is that?
Not all nuts are good, especially if they're roasted.
Right, yeah.
Macadamia nuts is really the only good nuts to eat.
Macadamia. What about walnuts? What's supposed to... Walnuts are pretty okay, right?
Stay away from almonds, stay away from, that's because they're bad, nuts are bad for another area of your health.
Okay, that's good to know. It is good to know. Okay, so here's the list. What you can eat during the first 3 weeks. Foods you can eat freely. Low carbohydrate vegetables. All right, and I noticed during the first 3 weeks, I did this when I was in my 30s. And I was just miserable. It just felt horrible. I think this was like in 1997 or 1998. I finally met my first naturopath in Colorado who helped me out a lot. It's a really sweet, wonderful Korean doctor, but she also worked with a naturopath. So they walked me through this whole thing, and it's really nice. It's nice to have support and somebody who can be like your cheerleader, who knows exactly what you need to do. All right, these vegetables contain lots of fiber and wonderful essential nutrients. They're relatively low in carbohydrates or calories. You can eat them fresh or frozen, cooked or raw. Okay, oh, and I believe Barbara, if you're still here, I know you're commenting in the chat, because Barbara did something really similar to this. And she has a wealth of information too, because she knows a lot about natural health and healing, and she's gone through this herself. So thank you, Barbara. I hope you're still in chat. Okay, asparagus, beet greens, bell peppers, broccoli, and of course it's a given this has to be organic. Okay, don't just go buy one of these and it's just going to be full of Monsanto junk unless you get organic. All right. Brussels sprouts, collard greens, daikon, dandelion. We just got some dandelion today that Ginger found. Eggplant, cabbage, carrots, cauliflower, kale, and I'm not sure what kohlrabi is. You guys heard of that?
Nope.
Not sure what that is. Leeks, lettuce, mustard greens, okra. That's something Noble loves. Meat, seafood, eggs, and other foods. Beef, lean cuts, chicken, cod, lamb, mackerel. So a lot of different fishes. Other fresh or frozen fish. The red Atlantic, it's Atlantic salmon, right, honey? The name of it? The Atlantic salmon?
Not to eat or to eat?
To eat.
Sockeye salmon.
Sockeye salmon.
Wild caught salmon.
Wild caught salmon. Okay, so not Atlantic. Get the red one. It's more expensive, but it's really good for you. It's
Atlantic farm salmon is the most dangerous fish to eat.
Yeah, there's a lot of mercury, right, in that.
But just the way it's raised. A lot of hormones, a lot of disease.
We saw those being farmed in Alaska, yeah.
It was on a documentary on Netflix sometime.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Yeah, you don't want to eat that kind of salmon. Let's see. Onions, parsley, parsnips, celery, endive, garlic, radishes, rutabaga, shallots, snow peas, soybeans, and I'm crossing that one off the list. No soybeans, just because unless you get it outside of the USA. In the USA, they're all bad. The only type of soybean that's safe to eat is fermented soybean, but you can't even eat that on this diet, the first 3 weeks anyway. Okay, spinach, string beans, Swiss chard, tomatoes, fresh turnips, yes, shellfish, shrimp, lobster, crab, and tofu, which is another form of soybean, so I'm kind of crossing that one off the list. Tuna, turkey, veal, and wild game. Okay, so you can see all the vegetables and meats that you're going to be focused on the first 3 weeks. And then Noble was talking about the nuts, seeds, and oils. This is what Dr. Crook recommends for nuts, seeds, and oils. Almonds, Brazil nuts, cashews, filberts, flax seeds, and pecans. I guess for the They all need to be raw in order to gain nutritional value. Then there's this list. I put cautiously in yellow because this is after the first 3 weeks. Then you can start introducing these foods. So if you just stick with the ones that are on that first list, don't go outside of it, then those foods are the least likely for people to have allergies. Besides, like shellfish. I think if you're allergic to shellfish, stay away from that for sure. But most of the foods on those lists have been pretty much tested in people eating it with vegetables, and this is all according to Dr. Crook again. So the cautiously foods are the high carbohydrate vegetables. So there's artichoke, avocado, fennel, beets, pumpkin seeds, butter, and in moderation, but then that's just for this part of the diet. We know butter is overall good as long as it's from grass-fed cows, or goats. Oils, cold pressed and unrefined. We know there's only 3 basic that are good ones, and olive cannot be heated up. So olive, coconut, avocado, stick to those. Olive for salads, and colder foods, and coconut, avocado for if you have to heat up oil. Beans, peas, and other legumes, celery root, breadfruit, winter acorn or butternut squash, and boniata, which is white sweet potato. Now, the sparingly foods, I put it in red, so we're going to go into a list of things that you do not eat any of this stuff for the first 3 weeks, because these are more likely to set off allergies that you're probably not aware of. So you want to introduce these just one at a time, like 1 per week, and that includes dairy products, besides butter and eggs. So cream cheese, hard cheeses, and yogurt, this is sparingly now. Whole grains, organic only, use these sparingly. Wheat, corn products in moderation, as Monsanto and Bayer has corrupted all the seeds of these in the USA. Okay, so these are things sparingly. Just because they're carbohydrates, they're more likely to cause the candida in your body when coupled with sugar, or else turn to sugar in your body. So barley, corn, kalmut, millet, oats, brown rice, spelt, teff, wheat, amaranth, buckwheat, and quinoa. And then breads, biscuits, and muffins. All breads, biscuits, and muffins should be made with baking powder or baking soda as a leavening agent. And that's what I was just talking with Noble about.
Yeah.
Just don't use yeast, because it's obvious. If you're trying to get the yeast out of your body, you're not going to eat something that's purposely made with yeast. And so here's more foods to completely avoid. Okay, these tend to be foods that people crave. We discussed for many weeks about why these are like engineered specifically for people to become addicted to. These are like drugs, literally. They're more dangerous, I think, than some pharmaceuticals even, because you don't realize that you're eating drugs that cause your body to do weird stuff. They make your brain react strange, your heart, your lungs. I mean, every part of your body just reacts to this stuff. And if you do this continuously, like a lot of your life, guarantee you will probably have health issues. So here's a list. Sugar in foods. This is ones to avoid completely. Sugar in foods containing sugar. Avoid sugar and other quick-acting carbohydrates, including sucrose, fructose, maltose, lactose, glycogen, glucose, mannitol, sorbitol, galactose, monosaccharides, and polysaccharides. Also avoid honey, molasses, maple syrup, date sugar, and turbinado sugar. And this is just during the first, you did your 3 weeks of just those certain foods. You want to avoid this all during the time when you're trying to figure out which foods you're actually allergic to. So just stay away from all this. And then later on, after the candida is out of your body, then you can slowly introduce some of these just once in a great while. But for the most part, these are not good for your body anyway. So packaged and processed foods, canned, bottled, boxed, and other packaged and processed foods usually contain refined sugar products and other hidden ingredients. You'll not only need to avoid these sugar-containing foods in the early weeks of your diet, but you'll probably need to avoid them indefinitely. Avoid yeast-containing foods for the first 10 days of your diet. Here's a list of foods that contain yeast or molds. Breads, pastries, other raised bakery goods. Cheeses, all cheeses, moldy cheese such as Roquefort are the worst. Condiments, sauces, vinegar-containing foods, mustard, barbecue, chili, shrimp, soy sauce, pickles, pickled vegetables, relishes, green olives, sauerkraut, horseradish, mincemeat, and tamari. Vinegar and all kinds of vinegar-containing foods such as mayo and salad dressing. Freshly squeezed lemon may be used as substitute for vinegar in salad dressings prepared with unprocessed vegetable oil. And again, this fermented foods can eventually be reintroduced into the diet because they're extremely good for you, but not during the time you're trying to figure out what foods you're allergic to. Malt products, malted milk drinks, cereals, and candy. Malt is a sprouted grain that is kiln dried and used in the preparation of many processed foods and beverages. Processed and smoked meats, pickled and smoked meats and fish, including bacon, ham, sausages, hot dogs, corned beef, pastrami, and pickled tongue. Edible fungi, and these are actually good for you too. Mushrooms are so good for you, but just not during this phase. Okay, so all types of mushrooms, morels, and truffles, melons, watermelon, honeydew, and especially cantaloupe, and those are what I'm allergic to, but melons have the highest mold content besides grapes of any fruit. So if you have candida and you crave melons, that might be a reason. Dried and candied fruits, raisins, apricots, dates, prunes, figs, and pineapple. And again, dried fruits in small amounts are usually okay for most people, but they tend to have a lot of mold in them because when they're drying, the drying process, they're growing mold inside of them. Leftovers. Mold grows in leftover food unless it's properly refrigerated. Freezing is better. Okay, so keep in mind, I'm sure we all eat leftovers, but my nutritionist actually told me if you leave your leftovers in the fridge for longer than like 2 days, it's already just 90% mold. So it doesn't look like it, but she just told me to be really careful with that. What you should and should not drink. Water. You should drink 8 glasses of water a day. Or else a good number thing with the water, look at how many pounds you weigh. Like if you weigh 100 pounds, you want to make sure you drink 100 ounces of water a day. So 1 ounce for every pound. Yet, ordinary tap water may be contaminated with lead, which is a good point, bacteria, or parasites. Alkaline water is preferred. If you don't have an alkaline water machine, get the pitcher. I think it's about $30 or $40 on Amazon. And then you can make sure that you don't have all the other junk that you're drinking too. Fruit juice. These popular beverages are a big no-no, even more so than eating fresh fruit. Did you know that? That fruit juice is not too great for you. Most fruit juices, including frozen, bottled, or canned, are prepared from fruits that have been allowed to stand in bins, barrels, and other containers for periods ranging from an hour to several days or weeks. Although juice processors discard fruits that are obviously spoiled by mold, most fruits used for juice contain some level of mold. Okay, so keep that in mind when you're drinking all your different kinds of juice. Coffee and tea. These popular beverages, what was that?
Sorry.
Including the health food teas, are prepared from plant products. Although these products are subject to mold contamination, most people seem to tolerate them. To decide, you can experiment. Teas of various kinds, including green and Tahibo, which is Pau d'Arco plant, have been reported to have therapeutic value. If you can't get along without your coffee, limit your intake to 1 or 2 cups a day. Drink it plain or sweeten with stevia, and use collagen powder instead of cream. Avoid all beverages and food with any type of corn syrup and maltodextrin in the ingredients, and preservatives in general.
That's good to know.
Yeah, you could put the collagen.
Yeah.
You could put it in tea too, like if you had cream tea, like Thai tea,
Yeah.
put it in there.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I like the flavor of collagen.
Yeah, the keto diet also encourages people who drink coffee to put like a couple tablespoons of butter in their coffee. And it said it makes it taste kind of nutty, and then it gives them the fat that they need, you know? All right, alcoholic beverages, wines, beers. Guess what? These are fermented, and other alcoholic beverages contain high levels of yeast contamination. So guess when the majority of people have their highest risk of having candida?
When they're drinking.
The weekends, partying.
Partying on the weekends. What age group of people do you think is most likely to have very high levels of candida in their body as they're studying for finals?
21 to 35.
I think it's even less than 21 because if you go to college,
illegally it's before 18.
if your college was like mine, you drink more than before you turn 21 than after you turn 21. So, yeah. But yeah, college level students, they have really high percentages of having yeast infections, men and women, like just because that's drinking every night, that'll do that to you.
Oh, that's right. I waited until I was 21.
You waited. Isaac was legal. He's a legal kind of guy. Now, anyway.
Now.
You should stay away from alcoholic beverages for another reason. They contain large amounts of quick-acting carbohydrate. So you ever hear the beer belly, right? That's why. If you drink these beverages, you're feeding your yeast. Diet drinks. These beverages possess no nutritional value. If you're drinking any kind of soda, just stop. I used to drink it like crazy every day when I was working to try to have energy because I was so tired all the time, but there's no nutritional value. Moreover, they're usually sweetened with aspartame or NutraSweet, which causes adverse reactions in many people. They also may contain caffeine, food coloring, phosphates, and other ingredients that many individuals can't tolerate. However, since diet drinks do not contain mold, some people with candida-related problems can tolerate them. Now I kind of took that last line and I was like, okay, I can drink soda once in a while. And then it turned to like once every other day. Then pretty soon I was having a soda once a day. I kept thinking, okay, I can probably tolerate this, but no, just soda's bad. All right, number 2, challenge. To begin this phase, you will have experienced some relief and begun to control your yeast overgrowth by following the elimination phase for 2 to 4 weeks. Now you're ready to add back in some of the foods you avoided in phase 1. From the information you gain through the challenge, you'll develop a list of foods which you can and cannot tolerate. Here's how this phase works. Continue following the diet plan from the elimination stage. Add 1 portion of 1 new food in a day, and notice any reactions or symptoms your body experiences in response to the addition of the new food. If you notice a reaction or that something's a little weird, give yourself at least 1 day without symptoms before challenging yourself again with another new food. If you don't notice a reaction, continue each day adding another new food and noticing your body's response. An important point, start with foods containing only 1 ingredient. For example, if you add bread and experience a reaction, you will be hard-pressed to determine whether wheat or yeast or some other ingredient caused the reaction. For the greatest success, hold off adding sugar or sugar-containing foods until your body has been clear of symptoms for a much longer period of time. And when you're eating and you're getting used to eating meat and vegetables, basically those 2 things together, you might, by the end of the 3 weeks, you might not even crave the things that you were craving before, the sugars. Like Isaac experienced that. You remember that, Isaac? You stopped eating a whole bunch of stuff, and then there's something that you introduced again, and then you felt really bad. I'm trying to remember what that was.
Was that recently?
Yeah.
Garlic chicken.
Yeah, and then you felt really, really junk. Yeah. And then it took a while for it all to like just be eliminated.
Processed through my body, yeah.
Yeah, I've done that too. It's just, it's saddening because it's usually something you're craving and you just have a weak moment and you're like, oh, I can handle this. I've been feeling so good. And then the next day you feel like, oh no.
Why did I do
that? Record. Now, this is the major thing when you're on doing this protocol or any type of protocol to get healthier. Journal your foods. If you write down the foods that you eat each day and body symptoms and sensations linked to eating those foods to help you track your challenge phase with more accuracy. As you begin to feel comfortable with your list of foods that your body seems to tolerate and not tolerate, take a look at phase 3, the reassessment phase, to begin identifying possible hidden food sensitivities or allergies. Okay, so keep a journal. Have a special journal where you have the day of the week written down. I made little columns in mine, just like the name of the food, what time, about how much of the food, like half a cup or something. And then you can go back, because it's easy to forget what you ate. That's one thing. People think, oh yeah, I'll remember what I ate yesterday, and then it's the next day and you can't think. I couldn't think of what it was for, like a whole week in a row. It's hard to remember everything you eat and how much and what time. Okay, so this is just a little reminder, a picture of a journal of things that you're eating. And here's number 3, reassessment. Are you still bothered by quite a few symptoms? Do you have a large list of foods you haven't tolerated well from the first 2 phases of the diet? If you answer yes to either question, you'll want to follow this reassessment phase to determine if food allergies and sensitivities may be playing a role in your continuing discomfort. If you're feeling much better and aren't bothered by many symptoms, you may choose not to work through this phase and go on to the maintenance phase. There are 2 major parts to this reassessment phase: testing for your body's reaction to all the most common allergic foods, and rotating your foods so you eat a particular food only one of every 4 to 7 days. To begin, avoid the following foods for at least 2 weeks. Some bodies need 3 to 4 weeks to clear out enough to notice a distinct change. So if you don't detect a noticeable difference in symptoms, continue for a few more weeks to see if this helps. Okay, so here's the list. Any food or beverage you eat more than once a week. Track your normal week's intake and then notice which foods are on the list frequently. So this is how you can catch yourself. When you're journaling, you're writing down the foods, what time. You go back in your journal of what you ate for the entire week, and then you highlight, or you can just circle the things that appear more than once on the list. All right? These are some of the things that people are addicted to or that they crave. They're like comfort foods from when they were children. They have good memories attached to these foods. So this list, especially number 1, it seems like in most people's cases: chocolate, citrus, corn, food coloring and additives, fruit punch, milk, processed and packaged foods, soft drinks, sugar, wheat, yeast, beef, chicken, coffee, eggs, oats, pork, rice, tea, tomatoes, and white potatoes. Once you recognize you are feeling more clear, begin adding each one of the avoided foods back into your diet. Add only one new food at a time, and give at least a day or 2 between each addition to help you clearly identify any symptoms that might be caused by that food. Make sure you track in detail your food and symptoms as you do these experiments. If you don't notice any symptoms, wait another 4 to 7 days before eating that particular food again. This rotation of foods helps you detect hidden sensitivities. If you notice symptoms, you may want to discuss allergy treatments with your physician or with your nutritionist. This may allow you to eat this particular food without problems, or you may need to avoid eating it on any regular basis. By the end of this phase, you'll have developed an individualized list of foods you can and can't tolerate, which allows you to move on to phase 4. And this is the last phase, maintenance. Congratulations! To have reached this phase means you've explored your eating and your body's sensitivities in depth, and from that search and experiment process have developed an individualized list of foods your body can and cannot tolerate. No longer are you feeling sick all over and not sure why. Sure, you may not be all the way back to where you want to be. Diet is only one step of the process, but you have faced the unknown and come out the other side with helpful and healing facts about you, food, and your body. By using these new awarenesses, you will be able to care for yourself and your health with much greater confidence and assurance. This is the stage you can begin to loosen up. You now know what to watch for and can go back to a more restricted food plan anytime you run into trouble. You and your healthcare provider or your nutritionist will probably want to develop a maintenance program of supplements to ensure a strong immune system and a balanced body. This phase also involves strengthening and re-energizing your body and its organ systems. Your supplement regimen will help with some of that. Don't forget all the other ways your body is replenished. Take a look at your daily routine and see if any of the tried techniques to feed your body feel better than others to you. Most candida-related conditions involve some element of chemical and/or mold sensitivities. Review your daily exposures to perfumes, pesticides, household cleaning chemicals, and minimize your exposure. So this is a cool chart. This is on the website. I put it here at the top, so if you want to go in and print this up for you, this is a great way to keep track. So you have your symptoms chart, and this is from the Yeast Connection with Dr. Crook at www.yeastconnection.com. So this is a simple way to do it. You can make your own too. You just keep track of all these different symptoms. Sugar content. Below is a comparison of the variety of different foods and the amount of sugar in grams that they contain. The average American eats 53 teaspoons of sugar each day. Can you imagine? Or 212 grams per day. Each of those, see those little circles with the R inside? That equals 1 gram of sugar, okay? So Cheerios has 1 cup, so you see the little circle. Apple Cinnamon Cheerios, look at how many of those there's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I think. Mustard has 1 because there's some sugar in there. Ketchup has 3. Club soda has 1 because it's not sweetened. Orange juice, look at how many. I can't even count all those. Cola has the most. Lentil soup even has a little bit in there. Tomato soup, 1 cup, has quite a bit. Vanilla yogurt has quite a bit too. Look at the yogurt fruit on the bottom. I think that one just beat out cola. If you get yogurt, it's best to get plain, and then you can put your own fruit on it so it's not so much sugar that's added. Turkey breast has 1, and honey roasted turkey breast has 4, so you can kind of see how you make choices. If you get the sweetened one, it's going to be a lot more sugar in your diet. The menus listed on the next few pages are sugar-free, okay, and yeast-free. Oh yeah, I put the menus all right here, so it's not the next page. All right, and they're designed to help you answer that always troublesome question: what can my family and I eat? And that is a question that came in my mind a lot. Like, there's nothing I can eat here. You know, it's frustrating. You're wondering what you're going to be able to eat. So these menus could kind of just give you a little outline or an idea of what it'll be looking like that you're eating. And you could eat as much of this as you want, actually, when you start out with the vegetable and the meat only, because you could just think of it, I can eat unlimited amounts of this, which is true. And you most likely will not gain weight because you're not taking any sugar, no carbs, and no junk. Breakfast. Oatmeal with butter or flaxseed oil and pecans, brown rice with filberts, sardines packed in sardine oil, and rice cakes, well-cooked eggs, 2 strips of bacon, and grits with butter. And also keep in mind, if you already know that you have allergies to any of this, just don't do that part of the menu. Okay, there's another example: oatmeal, pork chops, and cashew nuts, cooked amaranth, tuna, tomatoes, and walnuts, cooked quinoa, baked sweet potato, and pecans. That's just an idea. This is if you even eat breakfast.
Minus all the pork.
Yeah, minus all the pork and the sardines. Lunches. You can do wraps made with romaine lettuce leaves. So you can make a lettuce wrap, roll-ups with turkey or tuna, grated carrots, or a Caesar salad with grilled chicken breast. Use a small amount of lemon juice instead of vinegar in the dressing. Or like we make our own, and I don't think we even put vinegar in ours, do we, honey? Caesar salad dressing? You don't put vinegar in there, right?
No.
Okay. Kitchen sink salad. Every veggie you can find on a bed of romaine lettuce, perhaps with a few julienne strips of turkey and cheese, unsweetened yogurt and a handful of nuts, hard-boiled eggs, and carrot and celery sticks. A scoop of eggs, tuna, and chicken salad. I would not use soy mayo, like Dr. Crook is recommending here. You can get avocado oil-based mayo. You can make your own, actually, too. And a tomato, hamburger patty, lettuce, tomato, and onions, easy veggie soup. I wouldn't recommend the canned soups now that I know more about those. Supper, you could do a baked Cornish hen, steamed cabbage, asparagus salad with lettuce and pecans, used walnut oil. I'm not sure what the nutritional value of that is. I would always just go with either avocado, olive, or coconut. Steak or hamburger patty, eggplant, mixed green salad with cucumbers and green peppers. You know, Noble's been pushing, steak is really good for you. Just make sure you get like a grass-fed cow, free range preferred. All right, pork chops or lamb chops, turnip greens, okra, carrot, and celery sticks, roast turkey, baked acorn squash, steamed spinach, grated cabbage, almonds with lemon juice and flaxseed oil dressing, mixed vegetables cooked in the microwave, and pecans. And again, don't cook your stuff in the microwave. Dr. Crook, there's some things I just don't agree with him here. Tuna fish, broccoli, and black-eyed peas. All right. So this is something that Dr. Crook recommends, and I had this done too. There's some tests and labs useful in treating the yeast connection. There are a number of helpful tests that can assist with a diagnosis of candidiasis. No. Candida. Can you help me with this, guys?
Candidiasis?
Candidiasis.
Candidiasis?
Okay, if you could say that word, then you're on your way to success here. I'm not. All right, so you could print off this list for your physician. I would just say your nutritionist or your naturopath doctor. They probably are aware of a lot of this. How would you say that, honey?
Candidiasis.
Candidiasis.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. They can order a stool analysis for you. These are just things that nutritionalists or doctors are kind of limited to do to help you. If you have a really good naturopath or even a chiropractor can recommend and can assist you in making lists. You can also email us. I have quite a bit of information on this. If you want to email us at biblicalhebrewhawaii@gmail.com, and if you have any questions on this study, I'm more than happy to answer questions for you guys. Candida blood studies of various types. So this is what my doctor did for me. I remember she took 18 vials, and I was like passed out in the backseat of my car after this appointment. I had to wait a while before I could drive home and drink a whole bunch of water and try to eat something so I could have some energy. But yeah, and 18 vials of blood so that she could do measuring all the different measurements of Candida. This is how I was diagnosed. But again, you can diagnose yourself just using that list at the beginning of this whole study and the yes and no questions that you guys did. In addition, the vast majority of people with yeast-related health problems suffer from food sensitivities. So if you're allergic to a lot of different types of food, there's a good chance that you have this. Although commonly used allergy scratch tests often show negative results, other tests may be helpful, including the ALCAT test, a blood test that measures sensitivity to food extracts, food additives, chemicals, and molds. The IgG food sensitivity tests for delayed onset food allergies, and tests to assess intestinal permeability. Urine collected over a 6-hour period will help determine if you have a leaky gut. So those are all things that your doctor should be aware of. If they're not, you can mention it. And this is the end of the study. We want to just get you guys into clean eating, and we appreciate you guys listening to this entire study. We're going to take a break now before we end. And so, Isaac, if you want to play a commercial, we'll see you guys right after the break. Hi, everybody. We're back.
The mic's down there. Yep, we had a great chat. Talking about everything. Anything and everything, especially food.
We'll have so much fun in the chat with you guys, and so do I.
Yeah.
It's a good time. Thank you all for participating with us.
Yeah. A lot of guys out there. Leko, Brick,
Right
Justin
on.
Max. Adrian had to leave. Who else is there? Gosh, can't think of it. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun chatting with everybody.
Right on. Right on.
But
Good. I hope you guys are able to get something from the lesson.
But yeah, just know that this is a temporary type of diet, so that you can
Yeah.
actually determine what's affecting your leaky gut or your yeast infection. And this is again this is what they do when they try to see what you're allergic to as well, right? So,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
So-
It's something that had helped me out a lot. It's just because I'd been to so many doctors at that point. I was just
How many
ready to
doctors,
just give
Lisa?
up.
what's your
I
book?
think I still had like 15 more after this
29.
one.
29 and counting. Yeah.
But yeah, it kind of all just started snowballing when I was in my early 20s, and I think coming out of college where I was just eating horrible and drinking a lot of soda to stay awake in
And
college.
alcohol.
And alcohol too, yeah. It just, everything just kind of adds up. And then the doctor put me on some antibiotics because I kept having this reoccurring bronchitis, laryngitis thing. And that's why my voice is a little bit weird today, because I've done so much talking and I would get laryngitis every year that I would be teaching. So it really strained my vocal cords. So that's why
Oh.
my voice is a little weird. And it didn't used to be like this. It's just a little shaky now because of that. But anytime you do antibiotics, you have to make sure that you cleanse afterwards, after that 2 or 3 days your doctor puts you on it.
Yeah, because it's kind of like a poisoning of your body.
Yeah.
It's killing all the biotics, all the good stuff in your body.
And it can snowball to the point where, like, just from antibiotics, if you don't detox and you have a horrible diet and everything, it's just like layer on top of each other, that you're going to end up getting, like me, I ended up having a bunch of different health issues just because I didn't know how to cleanse. I didn't know even how to eat very healthy. I learned all that later, but I was raised with a lot of healthy eating. It's just the amalgams, the mercury that was in my mouth, it added another layer on top of everything. And so it's kind of like when you have a cup of water and it's already at the top where you can see the water kind of bubbling over, you know, hasn't spilled over yet, and you add like one more drop, everything spills, you know. That's how my doctor said that I was back in like 1998 when I first did this. And then we moved, so she wasn't there to help me anymore. My next doctor that I saw didn't want to do any of the stuff that she was doing. She just wanted to give me pain medication. So it was
Do
kind of
not
rough.
find those kind of doctors.
It was rough.
Stay away from those doctors.
It's rough when you're moving every year and you have to try to figure out what doctor you're going to go
Don't
to in
move.
the new state.
Stay still. Be stiff.
It's bad.
Right. All right.
Move, don't move.
Well, again, thanks for joining us, guys. We're really thankful that we have a group of family, friends that love to hang with us and learn with us and grow with us. So, Stevie's got a great story because she almost died from yeast infection.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so she's got her own stuff to share. But
That's good.
thank God that she's alive and survived. So there's a lot of things that we can learn from one another. So with that,
Okay.
thank you for sharing your story too.
Oh, sure. Should we close in prayer then?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Dear Father God, thank you so much for all of this fellowship that we have today and for this chance to do ministry together as a family. Thank you so much for keeping your hands on all the tech and for just taking care of all those who are part of our ministry here during the week. Praise and thank you, Father, that you give us the information to cleanse our temples and to care for them, and so that we're able to go out and do your work, Father God. We ask all this in Yeshua's name. Amen.
And we want to lift up those again, like Barbara's grandson, who broke his collarbone, for Terry Todd's trigger finger and thumb,
For Penny.
for Penny, and for anybody else that is going through stuff like I am. I'm going through so much.
Yeah, for Noble.
I'm getting old. Dang, I'm breaking down. But you know, we all have something health-wise that's being affected, and we just gotta keep praying for one another, and that the Lord will give us comfort and relief from time to time. Lisa's got a lot of comfort and relief now. But thank you for praying for her through all the years, because she's in the best health now that I've seen her
Yeah.
since
I'm
I've
not-
ever seen you.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you recognize that,
Yeah.
because
So
it's surprising how much she's getting around now. Like,
she's doing a lot. She's doing a lot more than I am. I think we swapped places. Give me back my health.
I went from, like, in May, I was crawling around on the floor. I wasn't
Yo.
able to walk in this house.
I was pushing her in the wheelchair. Now she needs to push me in the wheelchair. How's that for a reverse of roles?
He healed me just in time to help
Yeah.
you out. And
Yeah, but I want to be able to do it on my own. But I need to buckle down and be really strict with my diet and exercise. Thanks, Brick, for encouraging me. Appreciate you, man. And for all you guys, keep exercising, okay? So that way, you know, the problems will stay away longer and farther away.
you just gotta come swimming with me at the beach.
I'm not a swimmer. I'm a
You're
surfer.
surfing.
Yeah.
You can come surfing with me.
Well, anyway, thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you guys Saturday if if the Lord leads you to. Was
Hang out
that-
with us again.
What was that? The Readers Club, Digital Readers
Oh yeah,
Club.
Digital Readers Club. We're doing a great book in there.
Yeah.
You guys make sure you join us on
They just
Saturday.
started. I missed. I fell asleep on the first show, so don't feel like you're missing out on anything. This is the second time, right?
Yep.
Second class on reading, and I got the book. I got my new book. So, the Vestures of Light, and the
Rod of Wonder.
Rod of Wonder.
It's a good one.
Yep. So, again, hope to see you guys there soon. All right.
All right. Shaloha.
Shalom, everybody. Bye.
Thank you for your patronage.